Let me start with an unusual confession. I didn't came here alone today. I came with my 4 companions. 1 rabbit, 1 tortoise, 1 Leo, and 1 elephant. You can't see them, but I have a feeling probably you have made them. You have made that rabbit when you have rushed towards a project thinking speed alone will guarantee success. You made that tortoise when you thought that everyone had stopped, but you kept going. You made that lion when, on those rare days when you stopped comparing with others and be the better version of you. And you made that elephant when some teacher asked you a question which changed your life rather than the answer of the question. These are not characters or animals. These are the patterns of thinking, the patterns which shapes our choices on day-to-day basis. Today I am going to present one idea I call mindstrology. We'll try to understand whether storytelling influences human mind and shapes civilization. And before I conclude and understand how it shapes, what are the greatest innovation of humanity? Is it will? Is it fire? Is it technology? Artificial intelligence? Electricity? Everything has changed our life. But think beyond the obvious. When we see the oldest and the greatest enduring technology of humanity, it's none of them. It's storytelling. While other inventions changes our life, storytelling changes who we are. If you don't believe, go to your childhood. Try to remember all the mathematics or science classes the teacher has taught. Probably you may not remember, but you may remember one of the stories that you read decades before. And that's why the American psychologist Jerome Barney has said that we see the world not through the logical lenses, but through the narratives, and stories help building those experiences and narratives. When with this understanding and with this quote, I thought, let me go and understand a bit more about stories. What if the stories are not only entertainment? What if the stories are not just literature? What if the stories are the operating system of our civilization, the oldest operating system? As I explored more, I have gone back to my childhood, thinking the stories I have grown up with. Beyond centuries, India has preserved the ancient philosophical texts like Jatakas, Puranas, Upanishads, and Panchatantras, and Gita. And all these has answered the questions of our own self, our awareness, our identity, our character, our values. And they have held the entire civilization together. But ask yourself, do we really read those stories? No, why not? Because we are distracted with this technological advancement. Our priorities got changed. We compare ourselves from shoe to social media, and focus is there. And hence, the reading is never a priority. The infinite scrolling, the notification takes our lives and focus. And most importantly, are those stories still related, relatable, relevant? Partially yes, partially not. So how to make them contemporary? I pondered over, I thought what to do with those 4 characters, and then I have thought about the rabbit and tortoise story. Is rabbit still sleeping? Is the slow and steady in this T20 world will win the race? The answer is no. My son said, no, Papa, the tortoise will not win the race. And then I said, let me take a chance. Let me rewrite the stories of rabbit and tortoise. Let me create the Jungle Book. Let me create the new fairy tales through my eyes. And I have started writing a book called Untold Stories and Rob and Tor. I have described the characters, Rob as rabbit, Tor as tortoise, Ella the elephant, the teacher, and the Leo the lion. And once I started building those characters, I see these are the mirrors. These are my thoughts, my inner voice. I talk to myself almost every day. Rob is nothing but the character where I procrastinate. I think I have enough time. I think I can start tomorrow. I think I have to take shortcut to get something done. While Tor is consistent and make habits, Tor never believes that the extraordinary lives are made by extraordinary magics. Rather, it made by ordinary moves repeated consistently with right focus and intention. I read the book of James Clear, The Atomic Habit, where he mentioned the small improvement practiced and consistently and repeatedly compounds over time. And I found it's Tor. Tor never rushes. Tor thinks to continue your journey and compound the effect. And the Ella. I met Ella by myself. Ella is nothing but my subconscious mind. Ella has infinite potential and intelligence, probably all the answers. You just need to know how to trigger, and that's what my attempt to make Mindstrology trigger the subconscious power to the next generation. And Leo is nothing but who thinks you cannot get the happiness, success, and peace by comparing with others. You need to be a better version of you. You need to align with the technology. You need to align with the character of the civilization. And hence I started writing stories, 25 different stories, and when I was completing, I had a profound realization. These are not characters. These are archetypes. These are the mirror reflections of all of us. We can find us there. These are our inner jungles. We live with it, and hence they stay with it. And that's why stories stay with us. They are much larger than character. They are much larger than any human being, and that's why we relate with them without feeling judged. Mindstrology says every story fire your neurons, and the neuron fires together, wire together. And the stories that you repeatedly live makes the habit for your next few years. So we understand that stories impact human mind. But the basic question is, can it impact civilization too? Every civilization leaves behind monuments. The building fades, the emperor rise and fall, and the technology evolves, but the timeless stories, the stories of courage, the stories of leadership, the stories of purpose, the stories of gratitude, the stories of fear, the stories of conquer and values stayed beyond time. The civilization is to me a set of rivers. If you consider our civilization, the Indian civilizations, is nothing but the set of rivers like Ramayana, like Mahabharata, like Gita, who has told the stories for 18,000 years and hold the biggest democracy, making it most vibrant, open-hearted, and tolerant. We have accepted all religion and civilizations into it, and 1.4 billion people has been accommodated through storytelling. If you are still not convinced, let me repeat on Mindstrology way. The stories shape your identity. Your identity shapes the choices that you make every day, the actions that you make every day. The choices shapes your character, and all our character makes the character of our civilization. And hence, this character needs to be aligned with the next generation, and that's why my effort was to write these fairy tales and fables. The children are being taught the physics, chemistry, mathematics years after years, but no one is teaching what story is shaping them and the patterns the story is trying to evolve. The mythologist has experimented multiple times and spent times with cultures and stories, and they have found out that there is a recurring pattern of fear, of gratitude, of transformation, of courage, and of love in all those stories. The stories has pattern, except different religion, different region, different civilizations, different writer, but they come up with new patterns. I ponder over. I thought, what if I can document those patterns? I read more books and fairy tales. I attended talk shows, 90 days, 90 shows. I tried to understand those patterns. I wanted to document those patterns. And then I came up with the 51 mistakes of my life, which leads to 51 subconscious rules. Those are the patterns that I have documented under the framework called Mindstrology. And that's why I believe the fertile mind the children has today need to know those patterns. Because when they grow up as a doctor, an engineer, or an entrepreneur, they'll develop their subconscious either with fear or courage, either with curiosity or doubt. How to kill that curiosity, doubt, how to kill that fear through those patterns. And hence it's very important for them to read the fairy tales of today, to align with our civilizations, to know the game of the rules, and to empower their Ella in their subconscious with subconscious rules. But the question is, who win the game? Is it Rob or the Tor? If Rob depicts the courage and the aggressions and speed, Tor depicts the patience and love. Without Rob, the humanity would not have conquered the oceans, traveled to moon, or cured the diseases. But the reminder, which is not apparently meaningful or meaningless, cannot be accelerated. The wisdom cannot be accelerated. The character cannot be accelerated. The knowledge and trust cannot be accelerated. We need both. We need Rob innovations with Tor's patience. We need Rob imaginations with Tor wisdom. Because the acceleration and the speed without purpose is directionless, and the knowledge without action is meaningless. And hence, before I conclude, I raise one question. Is it AI or is it mindstrology? Is it AI or is it the storytelling? Which one is the best innovation? You may argue that AI can answer almost everything, but who will ask the right questions? That's why the storytelling is most important, because they are shaping the minds of the individuals who will be asking the right questions and use it ethically. Without using it ethically, we are leading towards a disaster. And hence I said, the children today doesn't only inherit the technology, they inherit our stories. Today's bedtime stories are tomorrow's boardroom decisions. Today's imaginations are tomorrow's innovations. And hence, you need to ask the right question for a brighter future. And right question is not the what technology will be bringing next. The right question is what stories we are preserving and shaping the next generations who will build next AI or technology for the ethical use. So ladies and gentlemen, when you go home tonight, you may forget Rob, you may forget Tor, you may even forget the word mindstrology. But you may not forget one question from this talk: what story is shaping you every day and who you are becoming. The self-talk that you are doing, how it is shaping your subconscious Ella. Because at the end of the day, your Ella has all the answers. So read more fairy tales, be wise, and write your own story with your 4 avatars, Rob, Tor, Ella, and Leo. So inspiring, so that we can add another chapter in the storybook, The Untold Stories of Rob and Tor.